Hi guys, it's Ainsley again, and I'm here at my church waiting on my mom to come outside. And I was thinking, in the meantime, maybe you guys would like to know what my favorite games are. I'm a gamer at heart, I've played a lot of games, and maybe there are some that are your favorites too, so I decided to share my list. I'm going to start from the first system I ever played, Atari 2600. Alright, I hope you guys like the list. Let me know, if there are any that you like, that I like, and, maybe we can talk some history, alright? So, Atari 2600, starting from number 3. There was Galaxian. A game like I've never seen before. Well, I'd never seen a shooting game before this one, other than a game called Asteroids. So this one was pretty cool. Yeah, some of you might be saying, whoa, look at that choppy, blocky thing, but yeah, it was really fun. And second, there was a game called Combat, where the only object of the game was to get this shot across the room and hit the other guy, and you get a point, and whoever reached a certain amount of points would win the game. Yep, nothing like the modern warfare of today, but it was pretty good. And number 1 is this game called Centipede. Man, I used to spend hours on this game just trying to make a high score, trying to stay away from that centipede, trying to hit him before he came down. I mean, it was really fun. And these 3 games really got me started into video gaming. And hey, I'm still around, so they didn't do that bad a job. Then came the NES. Now this system is arguably my favorite system of all time. I mean, I can't really say it is, but it is definitely close to being one of my favorite systems of all time. Yeah, it got 2 buttons, but Nintendo knew what they were doing with the fun factor, man. These games were fun. Now, I mean, before I even get into my top 3, there's some games that I have to give honorable mention, man. There's all the Double Dragons, Castlevanias, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a game called Sky Shark, which was just wow, Ninja Gaiden, every one of them, and Battletoads. Those games have to get mentioned, but they're not in my top 3. My top 3 games for NES are, starting at number 3, Super Mario Brothers 3. Yep, Super Mario Brothers 3. Out of the 3 of them, that's my favorite. Then number 2, a game which nobody, I mean hardly anybody knows about. It's called Shadow of the Ninja, which was like a Contra type ninja game, where instead of you have guns, you had ninja weapons. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I finished that game as well, and it was worth every single minute I spent playing that game. Then there was the game that I spent hours on till the wee hours of the morning, Blaster Master. It was a mix of side-scrolling plus the first 3D type game I've ever played, which was kind of overhead, but wasn't overhead. Yeah, but it was pretty cool. Had a lot of bosses, had a lot of enemies. Yeah, this game was pretty cool. So that was my number 1 game for NES. Then there was a Sega Genesis. I really wasn't that into the system. It was 16 bits, graphics were improved, but Nintendo still did it for me at the time. But these top 3 games for me were the ones I spent most of my time playing the Sega Genesis with. Um, there was Streets of Rage. It was a series, 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, I spent a lot of my time playing Streets of Rage 2. But um, it was a pretty cool side-scrolling beat 'em up game. And then there was Outrun. I mean, what can I say? And next to Rad Racer, it was pretty cool and pretty fast. Pretty frustrating too, but yeah, it was a pretty good game. Spent a lot of time on that. I guess that's why I love Burnout so much these days. And my number one game for Sega Genesis. This I played over and over and over. Yeah, you get the drift. Sonic the Hedgehog. I spent hours on this game. This game kicked it up. I mean, I can't compare it to Mario or anything, but this game was one of the best side-scrolling games I've ever played. I mean, it sucked that they carried it into 3D, but yeah, Sonic, you rule the Sega Genesis kingdom. Then came the Super Nintendo, and everybody was like, whoa, look at all those buttons. But it was a pretty good system. My mom bought one for Christmas for me, and I never told her this, but it was one of the best presents I've ever gotten in my life. I really spent a lot of time on this thing, man. Thanks, Mom. And yeah, these are my top 3. Another system with a lot of good games, but these 3 games had me locked. There was Super Mario World. Yep, I got that game with the system, and I played it until I found everything in that game without any strategy guides. I really love that game. But then this game came out, Super Mario Kart. I don't know what to say, but this game was fun beyond belief. I spent hours on this thing, man. Especially the battles and just trying to beat the computer. It was crazy. Crazy, man. But the next game, Street Fighter 2, this game changed gaming, carried it to a different level. I spent hours. I know I've been saying I spent hours on the rest of the games, but this game I spent hours. After school, my friends and I used to have battles on this game all evening till we went home. And when we got our systems and when we got the game, we spent hours practicing, man. Even years after this game came out, it was still the best game ever. I mean, Mortal Kombat came out. Yeah, I like Mortal Kombat too, but this game, yeah, Street Fighter 2, man. Street Fighter 2, number 1 for Super NES on my list. So then Sony decided to enter the video game market, and there was their system, the PlayStation, and it was pretty cool. I mean, everybody was like, wow, discs. So yeah, we started moving from cartridges, which was a sad day, to discs. But you know, we had to start using the discs because the games got larger and the game cartridges couldn't hold it anymore. But yeah, my top 3. There was a game called Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I guess it was the police chasing the car scenes that I've never seen before, which really intrigued me. So I was a big Need for Speed fan, so that's my number 3. Number 2 was my first ever RPG game that I ever played, Chrono Cross. And yeah, this game is wicked. If you haven't played it yet, find it somewhere and play it. Chrono Cross. It's really good. Storyline type. And my number 1 game is Resident Evil 2. This game I played until I got everything that there was to get in this game. And it was, every time I played it was like I was playing it for the first time. So good job, Capcom, and I hope a new Resident Evil is coming out soon. Game Boy. In high school, you had a portable system in your hand, and it was called Game Boy. You were the boss. So many people wanted the system. It was like how people craving Blackberries and smartphones now. I mean, yeah, it was such a revolution at the time, and it had a long reign, but for me, these three games stood out. Super Mario Land 2, pretty good game. You know, kudos to Nintendo for releasing so many good games. And then there was Samus, Return of Samus, Metroid 2. That game was so realistic to me at the time. I was cowering in my bed when I reached the final boss in this game. I mean, that's how scary it was to me. The sounds were incredible, and again, Nintendo outdid themselves. But there was this game for that system called Tetris. Yep. If you've never played Tetris, Linked Up, back in the day, you never played a game. You were like lost in the 1960s and you weren't up to date, because Tetris Linked Up was fun, man. It was really fun. And this definitely is my number one game for Game Boy. Level 9 was starting to get easy, but yeah, it was a pretty good game. I know some of you are gonna you know, get at me for making this my number one game for Game Boy, but yeah, no Pokemon, nowhere in sight. No, Sega was always trying to outdo Nintendo, so they released a handheld system called Game Gear, and it was pretty good, but I think they kind of defeated everything, because even with all the features and everything it had, it wasn't really portable. You had to be plugging it in all the time because the batteries would die so quick. So yeah, you'd carry it on the street for maybe an hour and then you'd be like, dang, battery's dead. So you wouldn't really get to use it. But these three games, there was Streets of Rage, that yeah, I know it's my favorite. It was definitely a good street brawler. Sonic the Hedgehog. Yep, again Sonic, what can I say? It was a good game. And this game, Shining Force, which carried me into portable RPGs. Yeah, that did it for me. And again, in those days, spent a lot of time playing these games, man. A lot of time. Then the PS2 came out, and it still is around today. This system is a titan. It gave us improved graphics, so many accessories, and the start of online gaming. And yeah, this system was definitely revolutionary. There again are three games that I know people are gonna tell me what the heck, but number three, sorry, Crash Bandicoot 2. Love that game, man. Played it for hours. And there's this other game called Final Fantasy X 10. Most people started with 7, but for me it was 10 that did it. And yeah, this game, wow, I still have flashbacks. It was pretty good. And then one of my favorite games of all time, Kingdom Hearts. And even though I'd want to play this game right now, man, it is a good game and has so many hours of replay. I mean, so many things to do, Yeah, if you haven't played this game yet, go and get it. Pretty good. Kingdom Hearts. Square and Disney came together and made this game. Pretty good. My number one game for PS2. Then there was Nintendo 64. And the first thing people used to ask is, what's up with that controller? But this turned out to be a pretty good system. And here are my top 3. It was GoldenEye. This game, I think you guys should really give props, because I think it's because of this game you guys are playing a lot of Modern Warfare and those type of games right now. This game was another revolutionary game. Another game that's in my top 10 list of games of all time. But yeah, I used to play this for hours. And this game was the first game I ever played that had so many side missions and stuff to do. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. And number 2, Zelda Ocarina of Time. Yep, from the first time I picked up the controller, the game just flowed smoothly. Yeah, I couldn't put it down. I couldn't wait to finish the game to see what's up. I mean, it had me, the storyline, just everything. It was a pretty good game. And then, my number 1 game. What can I say? I play this game even today. Mario Kart 64. Let's just watch this for a while. Sweet, I love this game. Number one, definitely in my top 3 games of all. And then there was Xbox. Bill Gates decided that he liked video games, and yeah, tried to come into the market. It was a pretty good start, and yeah, even though at the time I think PS2 won that war, there were a couple of games that stood out for me. First there was a game called Fusion Frenzy, and this had me and my friends cracking up for hours, just trying to jump. It was like an old Nintendo game, it was just basic functions. And yeah, it was a really good party. And then there was a game called Burnout Revenge. I like all Burnouts, but this one for Xbox is definitely my favorite. Spent hours playing this game too. Didn't finish it, but pretty much did. And then there was this game that stepped it up from GoldenEye for me, and it's Halo. Bungie, my hat's off to you. It was a really good game, and for me, 2 and 3, yeah, they were good, but nothing was as good as the original. I haven't played Halo Reach yet, up to the point of making this, so I can't compare, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. But yeah, Halo 1 for me, for my number 1 Xbox game. Well, the Cube came out when the which system was it? The PS1 was around, and yeah, it gave us some good games, but for me there was only one game. I mean, people were telling me about Samus and Zelda, the Wind Waker and everything else, but for me, the only game, I don't even have a top 3 here. The only game I played on this system was this, Smash Brothers. This game was crazy, man. And so much to do, so many characters. Nintendo, people underestimate you guys, man. They underestimate you. Who thought Nintendo could make that brawl out of its own characters? Crazy. Keep it up. And Coming into more recent times, the 360. No, I haven't really fooled around the new systems as much as I did the old systems, but I still have my top 3 here. For the 360, Dirt 2, my number 3. And yeah, pretty good game. For my number 2 and number 1, it's from the franchise Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead 2 at number 2 and Left 4 Dead 1 at number 1. No, I love zombie movies, zombie flicks, and for me these two games, I can't wait for Left 4 Dead 3. Yep. And yeah, I know it's gonna surpass the other two. They just keep getting better. And yeah, that's my top. PSP. To me, the best handheld system ever made. Yeah, the ones before it were fun, but this is like the total package. I mean, everything they said you could do with the system, you can, plus more. So, I mean, for me, I bought it as the day it came out. I got it as a present. Thanks, Sam. And yeah, this system has games coming out for it still, but these 3 are my top. There's Luminis 2, which I just started playing the other day, but it's so good. It's my number 3. I love it, man. I love it. It reminds me of Tetris, but with a twist. And Burnout again. Yep. I had this game playing for over a year, Burnout Dominator, and yeah, definitely my number 2. But my number 1 game, which I'm playing right now as I do this, is Final Fantasy Tactics. I can't get enough of this game. I played it back on the PS1, and when I heard this thing was mobile, I had to get it. So Square, you know, you own most of these games on my list, as well as Nintendo. You guys can make some really good games. Keep it up. My number 1 game, Final Fantasy Tactics for PSP. Yeah, so now to the Wii. Nintendo's system that's doing so well. My top 3 games are Nintendo-made games, and that should tell you something. Third-party support on the system sucks, except for a couple of games. So, here goes. There's a game called Mario Smooth Moves, and I love the game. It's a really good party game as well. It's just a funny game, and Nintendo kept it simple, and we have a classic as far as I'm concerned. My number 3. My number 2 is just came out last year, Super Mario Bros. Wii. Now if you notice, when Mario went 3D, I don't have any of those in my top 3, because as far as I'm concerned, certain games like Mario and Sonic and a couple of others should have stayed in 2D. I don't care how good the graphics are in 3D. 2D games. And my number 1 game for the Wii, I'm sure a lot of my friends can guess, it's Smash Brothers Wii. Smash Brothers Brawl. And this game has hours of gameplay. Me and my friends, we used to play this for hours, and there are a lot of modes that I haven't even got into yet after so many years, because yeah, the game's just awesome in multiplayer, so I spent most of my time playing the multiplayer mode. So that's my number 1 game, Smash Brothers Brawl for the Wii. Yeah, now to PS3. I think it's a very good system, but I haven't gotten a chance to fool around with it yet. So, really, the only game I can really put on this top 3 is basically 1 game, which is Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, so maybe in 5 years or something, I'll do a next review and I'll have a top 3. I don't really play a lot of computer games. As a matter of fact, I don't play computer games except for this game. Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun. It's the only game I'll play on my computer. As far as I'm concerned, my computer is for other things. Yeah, I know people are gonna say I can play this and that on my computer, but give me a dedicated system any day. But Tiberian Sun, yeah, definitely. I love this game. Whether it's over LAN or just playing against the computer, it is a very, very good game. If you haven't played it yet, check it out. Yeah, so that was my top 3 list of games for every system that I've ever played. And you know, maybe I'll do a top 10 games of all time list, and you guys can tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about my list right now. You can either link me on Facebook or Twitter, and you can check out, no, it's over here, what else I've been up to. And yeah, until the next vid, peace.